Hello, and welcome to Talkin Country. I'm your host, Bob Robbins. Ken Burns takes a look at the sons and daughters of America in the 5th episode of his documentary, Country Music, and that's where we will start. Joining me are Roy Cash, a musician and nephew of Johnny Cash, Barbara Fairchild, a singer, Charles Hames, a veteran country music journalist and historian, and John Rainey, chief engineer at Rainey Recording Studio. Another great episode tonight, and we hope that you've enjoyed it. We are here to discuss what we've watched and what we saw and some of the artists that we got to see. And I am so happy to have Barbara Fairchild with us tonight. She's going to kick it off for us.
Okay.
If I ain't careful, she's going to kick me.
Oh.
Welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you. I'm just delighted to be here.
Now, for folks, folks that don't know, you sang I Wish I Was a Teddy Bear.
That's right. That was my claim to fame.
What a big record it was for you, too.
Really grateful for it.
What'd you think of this episode tonight?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. It was wonderful. And just to... because Teddy Bear was a hit for me in '73, but I had, recorded for several years. I had my first contract when I was 16.
Wow.
Good. And, the thing about, and I'll tell a little something about Loretta. I got to go to a DJ convention when I was 16. My dad couldn't go. And so Loretta said, well, you just let her come down here and stay with me. And so I did. I stayed there at the hotel with them. And her sister, Peggy Sue, we were close to the same age. And she had just gotten a recording contract. She hadn't recorded yet. But we were running around the hotel looking at everybody, excited about everybody we were seeing. And then later, Loretta recorded a song that me and two friends wrote called This Stranger, My Little Girl. And she wanted it to be the single, and it was in the album Your Squaw's on the Warpath. Yeah. Oh. But the Wilburns had a lot of influence on what the singles were. Oh. And so that wasn't the single, but it was just a thrill. And we got to go to the studio and sit there while she was recording our song. We were sitting around this table and we was just crying because Loretta was recording our song. So she was just great.
That'd have to be
just great, yeah.
Mother Church of Country Music, of course, that's the Grand Ole Opry. And that's where we started with this show tonight. And
well, there was a time
there you go,
where if you're going to be a country music star, you got to play the Grand Ole Opry.
That's right.
I mean, that's just all there was to it. I mean, we're talking about like Ernest Tubb and a lot of those people years ago. They would do their engagements on the road on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so they could get back for Friday and Saturday night.
They had to.
Absolutely.
They had to play that Opry. Of course,
sure.
That Opry's still pretty stout,
it
pretty
is
strong. The oldest radio show.
Yep.
You're talking about Loretta, and Loretta is the love of my life. Susan knows that. Susan knows she's number one, but Loretta's just right there.
Oh, I'm telling you, she's so special.
What a wonderful lady. And of course, she had some rough years, and finally she just did it her way, and thank goodness she did.
Well, I think Loretta helped a lot of women get through a lot of things.
I sure agree.
There's no question about it.
She really was a voice for you every day.
Yeah, you ain't woman enough to take my man. If you don't leave him alone, we're going to Fifth City and all them songs.
But I really think in the middle of all of it, she always really loved Dewey.
Yeah.
I mean, he drove her crazy,
Don't we all?
In one of the interviews, she did not consider herself a part of the movement. She just did her thing, and I think it showed that country music can bridge the culture gap no matter what's going on in the country. Because there were a lot of things going on that were bad.
That's absolutely correct.
But and that's the wonderful thing about music, because it might not have been intentional, and yet it's so special, so wonderful, and just the power of music and how it can help people, all the way from Merle Haggard. I mean, like he said, the music saved his life.
Right.
Because life is full of struggles.
It is, yep.
But it's also full of amazement.
Yes, it is.
And so, when you look back at it,
it's always
you go, wow,
Absolutely.
Quite a journey.
It's always amazed me how a songwriter can write a song and mean it for one thing,
Yep.
and the person that sings it comes out a different way.
Yeah.
Or, you think that it's for a sweetheart or for my wife or for my husband or whatever. And it was never intended that way at all. But that's the greatness of country music. I
Well, you
think.
know, the cool thing about Teddy Bear, and it's a sad song if you listen to the lyrics, but it sounded happy.
Right.
And so we had, people that, and it appealed to children because they loved teddy bears.
Right.
And then that would be a nickname for their sweetheart. And of course the CB handle, and then Red Sylvain's song,
Right.
came
Big
out
song.
too. So it had just a multitude of meaning for different people.
Another person that you know a lot, of course, that's what's been neat about having Barbara. She knows everybody. Connie Smith.
Oh, love her. And I grew up in Arkansas. We lived on a farm, and I can remember Dad coming in, and he said, "There's the prettiest little girl. Said she's got such a great record out. You just watch, she's going to be a hit." And he said her name's Connie Smith. and that's the amazing thing, because that's what I love about America, to have grown up like that, and then to be friends with her. We're also good friends with Tony Orlando, and when we was watching those shows and watching them, I didn't know I was ever going to be friends with these folks.
Right.
And then for me and her and Sharon White to do
I remember
an
that
album,
Yeah.
called
What a-
Love Never Fails.
What a
And,
great record that was.
oh, it was just one of the greatest experiences I ever had in music, to sing with them.
Bakersfield sound.
Oh man, that's some of my favorite too.
Yeah.
I like the edginess of it, and
Yeah.
because it's real. It's like you went and saw them at a club or a performance, and the record sounded like that, and they embraced the twang of country. They didn't try to run from it, And again, that to me was a great era of music. I love Buck Owens and
Well,
We had a band, didn't we?
the Buckaroos.
Because he's still guitar player. Tom Brumley's the son of Albert E. Brumley, who
Right.
wrote "I'll Fly Away."
Exactly.
Did.
What I found interesting tonight on that was the fact that they loved the Beatles so much, and the Beatles loved them
Right.
so much.
Yeah, Ringo did act naturally.
Yes, it did, and it all gets together, and they like to sing some of Buck's songs, and Buck liked to sing theirs.
Buck recorded a song early on, "Under Your Spell Again." He did it upbeat, but then years later, Barbara did it. Talk about why y'all changed it. Y'all slowed it down. It was such a great record.
Well, it was an accident, because after the show one night, we were traveling, to the next city, and so we got the guitars out on the bus, and we started singing old songs, and we would slow down the fast ones and speed up the slow ones just to see what what they'd sound like.
Just try them out.
Yeah.
And that's what we did with Under Your Spell. And so when we slowed it down, it's like, oh my gosh, these
that.
words are so beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I started singing it like that.
I was glad to see tonight that we brought my friend Roger Miller back in.
Oh.
What
What a trip.
I've said before, yeah, what a
Hey,
wonderful
I know you know
man.
the facts
So
on it. How many Grammys did he win?
In a 2-year span, he won 11. 1964, he won
Is
5.
that a record?
In 1965, he won 6. It may be that. I'm not sure. I know, several other pop people have won a lot in a short
He
time.
won 5 in 64, and he won 6.
in
in
65.
in 65.
11 in a 2-year span.
Right.
You know,
Pretty
he's
darn
a
good.
genius.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
My
and
goodness.
it's sometimes the geniuses are a little crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And he
But-
was, and he, and
Yeah.
well, I mean, can you imagine really having that kind of talent in you? You probably don't know what to do with yourself.
he was
and so,
something else.
but finding that outlet
Yeah.
for it and the validation that came for his talent.
I wish I had your happiness and you had to do whack-a-do, whack-a-do, whack-a-do.
well,
I wish I'd have said that.
another one of my favorites, of course, was featured a lot tonight, and that's Mr. Haggard,
Oh, yeah.
Merle Haggard. And
I don't know that there's ever been a finer, purer singer than he was.
Oh,
And he was probably one of the first, the total package. You know, not only did he have the look, but he had the voice, and then he penned all that. You know, he wrote most of that music,
Most
if
of
not
the
all
music.
of it. You know, and he kind of set the standard and the bar for that. You know, for that entertainer. You know, to have the whole package.
And the bar was set high too.
It was set high.
Yeah.
And you know,
There's
all of his sons are so talented.
Exactly.
They all sound
Play,
like Merle,
sing, that's
but
right.
they sound different.
Right.
Well,
So it'd be interesting to see when it's all said and done what all they contribute.
have you heard the story about Merle appearing on Johnny's show?
Yes.
Johnny had a show, 67,
Yep.
69.
It's a great
Merle,
story.
Merle appeared in August of 69 and made the comment while he was talking to Johnny, you know, this is a lot better than your show in San Quentin. And Johnny said, I don't remember you being on the show in San Quentin. He said, I wasn't. I was in the audience.
Of course, we've touched on her already, but Loretta Lynn. Gosh, Loretta.
You just love her. You just
I
can't
do
quit.
love
You
her.
can't stop talking
I can't
about her.
stop, and I never will. Loretta, she's and she had the hard times,
Oh, absolutely.
but did we all? Not like she did, probably, but
First woman in the music business to have a motion picture about their life.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I'm not talking about not just country. Any woman in the
Yeah.
music business
Yeah.
to have a motion picture about their life.
Yeah. And back on Merle, the music saved me. That's what he said, and as you said, it did.
You know, it's incredible watching all of them because, I mean, so many were from just such modest, or really, in some just absolute total poverty. So it sure makes a statement that it's not how you're raised that can determine how you turn out.
Right.
You know, and
Absolutely.
that's like I said, the beautiful thing about America is the opportunities that you get. You know, like Charley Pride.
Yep.
Thank you.
And man, that was inspiring too.
It
Proud of
really
you.
was. I enjoyed it very much, and I know Charley pretty well. Have known for a long time Charley because he was involved with a business that I was involved with years ago from the start, and just a super nice human being.
What an inspirational guy. I mean,
All the time. Never saw
imagine he
that
could have
wouldn't.
turned the other way
Yeah.
and gone protest and
That's not Charley. That's just not the way he wanted.
His humility, you know.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I have to tell y'all now, this may not make the show, but I have to tell you now, y'all know Rosine, Charlie's wife.
Yes, yes.
All right, now she's quite the cut up.
She's the boss.
Well, that's right. She's the woman behind the man.
That's
but,
right.
But I got to tell you, she is a mess and a lot of fun. And so I sang at Charlie's Theater there in Branson, and I did my morning show there, and then I would open for Don Williams because Don would be there if Charlie wasn't. And if they didn't want to do interviews, they'd send me to do them. All right, so we go and we watch a show at the Osmonds. Now, Rosine liked to go to shows, so the Osmonds had a row there for their
special,
guests, whatever you call
guests.
it. Yeah,
Their
VIP.
comps. Yeah.
All right, now, so we get there a little bit later. Now, Roseanne and her sister, I think, was with her. We had to step over them to get to our seats.
Oh, Lord.
So I go in first, and my husband, Roy, is behind me. He sat down, and he said, Rosine just grabbed both of my cheeks and squeezed them when I stepped on. Now, of his backside.
Right.
Okay. Now, she thought that was the funniest thing, and Roy was so shocked he about passed out, you know. But she would do that kind of thing because she's cut up. Well, we found out that that's just something she enjoyed doing if she knew people well enough to do that.
Well,
You're looking really shocked.
I'm not shocked.
You're not shocked.
I visited with them backstage at the opera. She's a mess.
So,
Yeah.
but I loved her. I'll tell you, she's great too.
Something I really love and stands out in my mind about Charley is when he had some cancer problems. He had them done in Arkansas and at UAMS, and he played a show for the Cancer Society
That's
and
great.
and raised funds, and that's just the kind of band he is. He also used to come and he'd sing the national anthem.
Yeah.
When his son played football, and he'd sing the national anthem at the Catholic High Games and just things like that. He's just
Great guy.
I don't know
His
what else to
catalog
say.
of hits. Oh my God!
Hey, the catalog of hits, and he never let stuff stand in his way. And they started releasing his records, as you heard tonight, they didn't have pictures or nothing of him on.
Right.
Because he was black. But it didn't take him but a second to turn all that around
Wasn't that great?
in front of the crowd.
Thank
That
goodness
was
for
just
Farron
great.
Young,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, and Farron
Total
Young,
class.
they thought Farron was going to be real mean to him and all, but look who went in the hall with
They
him.
went the
Oh, yeah.
same night.
Same
Went
night.
to bat.
Pretty interesting, isn't it? Other folks that we talked about tonight, of course, Farron Young, you just mentioned there. With Charley, where there was Red Foley and Red Savine, that type of music come along.
Yeah, they discovered him in a lot of ways up in Montana. And started telling people back in Nashville about him.
Something else that we haven't touched on tonight was the Mississippi girl, Bobby Gentry.
Yeah.
Man, she knocked it out of the park,
Yes,
didn't she,
did.
Barbara?
And she was so pretty.
Very much so. If you notice this episode, you're talking about a lot of these people we mentioned, and even ode to Billy Joe there. Those all these songs are great story songs,
Yeah.
and that's what the music's missing now.
Yeah.
I mean, these songs told a story. They full of emotion. Barbara recorded a lot of songs like that. They make you feel something. They make the listener feel something.
And so many of them today just sound all alike.
Everything from Harper Valley and that and Dolly's Coat of Many Colors.
Absolutely.
And they're unique because all the other and so many of Merle's and Johnny Cash's songs were like that.
Mama's Hungry Eyes.
Oh yeah. Boy, and I love songs
I Still
like
Miss
that. They're like
Someone.
videos.
Right.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I Still Miss Someone. It tells a story too. Those are great story
Great.
songs.
And he
the
wrote-
They did.
production on those songs, you knew who the artist was going to be within the first few bars of the intro.
Yeah.
You knew, you knew what the song was going to be. A lot of times you knew who the artist was going to be because they put that signature stamp on it.
Yep.
And again, a lot of times that gets lost today, but they knew about that back then and how important it was, and they utilized it.
I also really enjoyed the stuff with the musicians.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because and it worked a lot, with.
Those are
when
the guys that come up with that.
Yeah, when they're naming those guys and
Right.
seeing them, and so many of them played on records I did.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Charlie McCoy is a jewel. I talked to him not too long ago, and he is still out there playing.
And he was a musical director of Hee Haw.
If you
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
have the musicians, you wouldn't have the music.
That's absolutely correct. I was in Nashville the night Grady Martin was inducted in the Hall of Fame, and he got it just same night the Browns from Arkansas and the Oak Ridge Boys were inducted. Grady Martin got a huge ovation because those musicians are
Just
so
because he could
appreciated.
play. And it's amazing that people know the musicians, too.
Well, and
that
it's
are on
that
these records.
same kind of gift, on their side of it
Absolutely.
that there was in the artist,
Yeah.
and that just the marriage of those things coming together is amazing.
Yep.
Well, back to Johnny Cash and that Folsom Prison blues album, that was a kick in the rear for him.
Oh, it
wasn't
did. And a kick in my wallet, too, because my song's on there.
You
That
like
felt
it.
good,
The more I
didn't
talk to you, the more I see you lean to the right.
He ought to be able to buy it in.
I think that would be great. Statler Brothers, June Carter, and of course Johnny Cash. The big show.
I'll tell you what about Johnny and June. Regardless of the good, bad, or whatever in the marriage that broke up, June saved him.
Absolutely.
She probably saved his life.
She
She certainly saved him from keeping on the road to destruction with drugs. And that's
Hail to the women.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They had
That's
a
great.
little snippet there on Roy Clark, and I think everybody will agree he's probably among, if not the nicest guy.
He was really a special kind of guy.
Absolutely.
And his memorial service just told the extent of things that Roy did that and showed his character and stuff that folks probably never knew.
Yeah.
And you know, he went and done a show. I think he went out and they was going to pay him big dollars, and he finds out there's all of this struggle of folks in the town, and I mean it was sold out, and he give them the money. He give them the money instead of taking it home.
Says a lot about
Says a lot about him.
I had a really
He's
neat
wonderful.
experience with him. I'm a pilot, and so was Roy, by the
Right.
way. I got to take him out to an aircraft carrier in an F4 Phantom.
Woo! I bet that
And
was
he loved it.
I
mean,
bet.
I thought he was going to jump out of the airplane, not because he was afraid. He was just so
Excited.
having so much fun.
You know, something we haven't touched on, we only have a couple of minutes left. The folk part
Yeah.
of our music, and they had a lot to show on that tonight, too.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a definitely influence there. Bob Dylan and the Kingston Trio singing Tom Dooley. I mean, country music cast a huge umbrella.
Yep.
You know, country and jazz are cousins. Gospel and country are cousins. Bluegrass, certainly. Folk. It's all intertwined.
And Delta Blues, the Bobby Joe Gentry song, that definitely had a Delta Blues
Certainly.
guitar, you know, was just great.
It's almost like it's a seamless
Yes.
just expanse. And
It's a good way of putting it,
From one
yeah.
genre of music to another. Yeah.
And it flows together so beautifully.
does,
It's like a
right.
tapestry, and you see it in Dolly's music.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
she even had a hit on a Jimmy Rogers song, Mule Skinner Blues.
Exactly.
We got a lot to be proud of in
Yeah.
country
yeah.
music,
Yeah.
don't we?
We
We
do.
do have. We
There's
do
no
have.
genre like it.
And it doesn't matter what kind of music, that country always comes back into it.
And this was a fantastic episode review. I think I learned or relearned more about country music than I ever thought I would.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. I wish I had a lot more adjectives to throw at you tonight, but I don't. It's just been a super, super show. I've enjoyed you being here, Barbara. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Cash.
bet.
Pleasure seeing you. Always you,
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah.
And, of course, my friend John.
You hold my hand.
Thank you, Bob.
It's indeed a pleasure. Thank y'all. Thank you for watching tonight, and we'll see you next time.